we go. Good morning. It's back to the Daily Jewel project. Might turn that music down a little bit more. Maybe 6% is good. No. 3. Somewhere in between. Oh, that controls. Why are you like this? Okay. Oh my. All right. So, what are we doing today? What did we do last week? So last week I think the main thing was we worked on that infinite scroll feature for this, for the searching of foods, right? So we made it so that we would paginate through results. So like if we were searching for our example, ginger. Okay. One thing I'm noticing here, it says 20 results, but of course if we scroll down, we will get more results. And so presumably if you scroll back up, yeah, it says 40. It'd be kind of neat if we could see like how many total things there were, or not show this. Now that I'm thinking about it, right? Because it doesn't make any sense. Either we know how many results there are total in this view, for, like in Open Food Facts, or we don't, in which case, what is this telling us? We've retrieved 60 results so far, but you're not going to even see that if you're scrolling down, right? The other thing I was thinking about after the stream last week, let me take a note about this before we move on. Yeah, cute. Also, X results should show total, or just not show this in the UI. The other thing I was thinking about though is, you know, in the completely opposite case, where we have basically no results or very limited results. So what would be something that I suppose if I just type test, we'll do a local search that just gives us 0 quick search results. Of course, scrolling here doesn't happen. Did we do the infinite scroll for the quick search results, or was that only when we were? Okay, yeah, so we are. And it's much faster, right? Because we're not calling out to Open Food Facts. But what's something, Pete, 1 result. So we can't scroll here. I'm interested though if we had like 3 or 4 results. Actually, why doesn't a thing appear at the bottom saying scroll for more? How does this work? How does this work again? Okay, so we see... Oh, if we had more results. Okay. So that's good. I was more clever. And then scroll ref is the div. So none of this happens if there aren't enough results, or if we've scrolled down through all the results. Okay, so that was the thing I was thinking about. How is that going to work when there's a small number of items? But apparently, that was already solved. So what we're going to do is we're going to repurpose this issue to be just about this other thing that I just now am realizing. For the food search results. Okay. So that is one of the things I was thinking we could do today. I don't know. Okay, good, that updates. The other thing is a thing that we looked at, I think, or I mentioned at least last week, which was don't attempt to retrieve user settings on non-authenticated views, which I think is going to have us maybe make some changes to our app file, our Next.js app file, somehow. We have page props here, wherever this is coming from. Maybe we can figure out if this is supposed to be an authenticated view or not, somehow, to determine whether or not we dispatch fetch settings. I think this is the right level. I don't think I would want to try to shoehorn in, like, state about whether we're on an authenticated view or not into Redux. So it wouldn't make sense to handle it, like, inside of that. So at this level might be right. I have to figure out what... Okay, page props right now has session. Oh yeah, because we just told it. Maybe we can figure out some information about what kind of page this is. Although I feel like that's something we do more on layout. Wherever I select the layout component. Status, authenticated. We might have to use the logged in user session data. Might have to look at the Next.js docs, given how our router is kind of tied into that, to figure out, you know, in if I wasn't using Next.js and I just was using like a client-side router, my first inclination would be in the router definitions for the views to have some that are marked as requires authentication. I feel like I did something like that already. Oh, probably in site navigation. So in site navigation, we have information about, like, if the nav item. Hold on. Dislike track. There we go. If the nav item requires login. So we're showing, you know, items that we're only showing those nav items if you are logged in, which is slightly different than is the page we are trying to render one that is one you should be logged in to be on. This is a little bit different than what we're doing here. So that is something else that we'll probably hopefully figure out today. And then I think we have a number of to-dos just left around in the code. It's time to move these into our project. In one of these two columns, I'm not sure which, we'll see. And kind of consolidate that and stop putting to-dos in the source code. I think it's time for that. So we can get kind of a final list of the things that we're going to do for kind of the V1 of this web app. Okay, so I suppose there's nothing to do but to get started. Let's take a look at what's going on with X results thing, right? So I think showing quick search results. So like if we search for something that I know they have a bunch of results already, so we're showing 20. It would probably be better if we could say showing 20 of however many there are. How many are there? There's probably like 100 at this point. Depends on how many. Yeah, there we go. 102 quick search results. So it would be nice if we were saying showing 20 of 102. Maybe? Although it's kind of weird because you don't see this. Once you're scrolling down, right? Would we alternatively, you know, maybe we could show this somewhere else? Setting aside how we would do that, would we want to maybe have something down here? Probably not. I don't like the idea of using our little actions area for that. Do I want to show number of results at all? I also don't like the fact that it shows the old number while it's loading the new thing in. But if we just didn't show the number of the quote-unquote number of results, then it wouldn't be a problem either. I guess the other question is, you know, when we're querying the Open Food Facts API, searching for products. You know, I think I have a Postman collection I put together. It might actually be easier just to pull that open. Oh yeah, so here's an example, but it's broken in this view. That's unfortunate. Let me see. Sure I don't have anything that I don't want to share on stream in this. I think I've hidden all the things. I got some collections that I wouldn't want to share, so but this is fine. I can probably, nope, can't make it bigger. Well, a little bit of an eye test. So count, there is a count at the top level of total number of results. So yeah, we could grab the count from the API and use that and feed that back in to our procedure and then into the front end and have like, there's a total of X results found is an option. And then we could do the same thing for the other procedure where we're doing the kind of the local, the quick search, where we're just checking our database. I think that seems, if I do want to have a number of results, I think that seems okay. I'm not sold. I'm not sure. I have mixed feelings about the utility of having the account, but I guess it's okay. You know, you do a search and you see, oh, there's 1,000 results. Maybe you want to refine your search more, or maybe it's like, yeah, that makes sense, and then you can add whatever. I think that it's okay, and that's a start. All right, so how are we gonna do this? So lower the music volume another percent. All right, so how is there anything we need to do here? So right now we're just using the length of search results. Search results here being an object, an array of objects. So that's not great. We're gonna have to make some changes here to be able to get the kind of the total count. Where are search results coming from? It's coming from a prop, right? We could have a separate prop that's like total results available or something. That would be to do loading component. That would be coming. We'd have selected where you pull it out of the state. How does it get to the state? Well, from procedure, So if we look at where the selector is coming from, that'll take us to the food search slice. And we have a thunk here. A couple of them, right? And so we have quick search and we have search. And both of them are returning, they're just returning whatever the result of the query is. So then what is presumably happening is somewhere down here in our extra reducers for our slice is that we have some cases where we have a search fulfilled case. And so what we can do, so what we can do is we could, we already, all right. So last time for the infinite scroll, we had converted it, so instead of the payload, the return being from our search procedure being an array, it's now an object that has a results array and it has a cursor. So we could also add, a state dot total results, something like that. And so doing that would mean that we would also want to add that to the type. Is a number or null. And then we'd also want to update the state here to be null. We would also want to add if quick search results are pending, so we just queried, I'm going to say state dot total results is null, right, to clear it out, so we don't have like the previous search's total results in the state. And we're going to proceed with the assumption that when we do search more, that the total number of results is not going to change. Do we want to make that assumption? I mean, we're just calling these two things again, so we would get the same kind of shape of results. So I guess we could also, if we're searching more, we don't need to clear out total results, but we can definitely grab the total results from the payload again. Of course, it doesn't exist right now, but it will. So we would refresh it. So if somehow the database got another item between when you did your initial search and your second, at least the result, the things would be consistent. And then we want to export total results, and Copilot is doing its thing. Okay. So we're gonna have errors for a little bit until we go and add the stuff to the back end, but this is fine. Yeah. So const total results. Yeah, that's a good attempt, Copilot, but we just made a selector, so select total results. Okay. And then we want to pass that information into our non-connected component. And then or null. All right, and I actually have to add it to the props instead of just the type. Like so. So we have search results, and so we know the length of that, and so we're showing that number of things out of total. It should be the case that when search results is not null, that total results is also not null. I don't know that it's worthwhile to try to type that. I guess we could do that, right? So we could just say that our food search state should model either. We could do some fun things actually with this state type in terms of having some kind of discriminated union type situation here going. Right, so if results is not null, then like is that worthwhile to do? I don't know. We can, for now, just add another type check here. So that we know this is a number and not null. There we go. Now, of course, this is gonna not be correct. Since we haven't updated the procedure yet. But let's do that. So there's a few things we need to update, right? Because by looking for total results in our search fulfilled case here, both for quick search and search more, that really covers 3 procedures. So if we go back to server procedures, is it foods? Yeah. Find by name. Find by UPC. Did we use this? Find by UPC. This is not used. We import it, elsewhere, but we don't use it. We can always add it back. It'll be in the history. But if we're not using it, I'm not going to keep it around and have to try to update it. So these 3 things are the ones we actually use. Should look familiar from last time. So find by name. Okay, right. So we're taking 20, but we're passing a cursor option so we can paginate through. What we want to do is we also want to count of how many total items there are that match the criteria. Can we do that? Can we find many and get counts? All right, let's take a detour into the Prisma documentation. Singular. Prisma client. Filtering and sorting, relation queries, aggregation, grouping, and summarizing. Group by count. Find many, include count. Select. Can be used inside of top level, include or select. Okay. So could we simply say what is it supposed to look like? Underscore count. Okay. Is the underscore count significant? I believe we're on like Prisma 4 point something, so this note doesn't apply to us. The underscore count parameter can be used inside of a tuple of include or select. Any query that includes returns records can return multiple relation counts. Users with count. Interesting. Okay. So that gives us a result, which is still just an array, right? Does that mean... I mean, presumably this essentially should do like a count star. So every record should have a count on it. I feel like this is maybe not doing what I want it to, what I intended. Is this counting all of the relations? Okay. Get all the records. Is there a good way to ask for some records and then the total count of records? Because if not, we can always go back and say we won't have a a total number. Okay, Google maybe is our friend. Find many, count, total count. How to get total documents count along with pagination. So just do multiple requests. Sure. All right. What was the end of this? Last month. Yeah, that same thing, right? So just like do it in a transaction, do 2 queries. I could do that, or I could give up on the idea of having a count. Since I wasn't really sold on in the first place. There is some value in recognizing when you're like, I don't have strong feelings one way or the other about doing this, because then we can just say, okay, well, if it's going to be unpleasant to implement, let's just not do it. What did I remove there? Good, good, good. So just undo everything. I'm not going to undo the deleting of that file, though. Didn't need that one procedure, so that's one less thing to have in the code base. Yep, good, good. All right, we're all done removing things. And then we're just going to get rid of... the counts altogether, right? We're just going to say we're showing quick search results, show all results as the button, and then I don't know that we need showing results from open food facts, at least right now. We might have other sources at some point eventually, but for now that's good. And then we can get rid of this thing that we added. We can get rid of total results and all the places that was added. Things just get a little simpler. Yeah, that doesn't exist anymore. All right, and so the sum of our changes were removing that procedure and changing the text a little bit. So now if we go over here and we search for ginger, showing quick search results, show all results, showing results from open food facts. Maybe that should be a colon, or just not have punctuation. We're really nitpicking now. Alright, so we're gonna start. We're gonna do this. We're gonna change this to remove misleading counts on meal ad food. Okie dokie. So we should do that. Yep. And we'll auto merge. This will probably ask us to approve the changes in Chromatic as well, since there are some UI changes. Assuming, I mean, surely we have some stories that cover this part of the UI. Could be wrong about that. All right, so next thing to work on, don't attempt to retrieve user settings on non-authenticated views. Okay, so like I said before, I think we'll just need to look at the Next.js docs. Routing, authenticating, this is kind of doing the opposite, right? So we're saying in this page, we're checking to see is the user logged in, and if not, dealing with it. Whereas what I want to do is I want to have a way of knowing, indicating that. Let's take a look at that. So, like, here's index.tsx. And there are props, get server-side props. And then here's settings.tsx, which just like re-exports this component, which is the next page. I guess in a way, it's going to be the case that the unauthenticated pages are kind of the exception. Most pages are pages that you're supposed to be logged in first to be able to see. Thinking about something here. So this page prop, so where does this come from? That I should probably figure out first. Is it being referred to? No. Okay. Let's search documentation. Page props, custom app, which is what we have. Okay, Next.js uses the app component to initialize pages. You can override it and control page initialization and persist layouts between page changes, keep state when navigating pages, inject additional data into pages, add global CSS. You create a file pages/_app.js, something like that. And the component prop is the active page. So whenever you navigate between routes, component will change to the new page. Therefore, any props you send to component will be received by the page. So we see that here. We have component, and we're injecting component inside of this layout. And we're passing in whatever page props we have. Just passing through. Page props, there we go. Page props is an object with the initial props that were preloaded for your page by one of our data fetching methods. Otherwise, it's an empty object. The app.getInitialProps receives a single argument called context.ctx. It's an object with the same set of properties as the context object in getInitialProps. Yep. Data fetching methods that were preloaded for your page. So in other words, like if we're looking at index.tsx, it's talking about this, I think. Right? So if we did this, then presumably there would be an unauthenticated key in the props. Right? Maybe. If, yep, console.log. All right, so, yeah, let's go back to the landing page. So we see unauthenticated, but if we go, let me clear this again. So we go to this page and it's fine. If we go to tools, that's broken, so it doesn't matter. If we go back to the landing page, unauthenticated. Okay, so I think this is fine. Not equal to true is the condition we want, and we want to do that inside a use effect because we can't put the condition on the outside because you can't have use effect has to be called consistently in the component. Okay, and then okay. So now, if we log out, we should stop getting that error about because it was so before, for context, when we were hitting a page and we were not logged in, a page that we shouldn't need to be logged in to view, then we were still dispatching this fetch settings, and that was, one, not needed if we're not authenticated, but two, resulting in an error that we're getting a toast about down here. So now that that's gone away, sorry, I'm noticing, I don't know at what point, at some point something broke and this became larger than I had originally intended, but I kind of like it. Where kind of like the underscore stretches under the blue and it kind of sticks out a little bit. It's not what I intended, but it's not bad. I'm not sold on the font anymore, but all right, authenticate again. All right. Sentry. Interesting. This is a broken page too, isn't it? Okay, 404. Is that? Are there any other pages? I guess BC Calc can also be unauthenticated. I guess we don't actually have a link to it right now. There we go. Louis, root, H1, and then this is different. Okay, I think this is a... yeah, right. Yay, Next.js. Okay, anyway, if we log out, and I go back to that last page, this still loads and we don't get an error. So that's good. All right. Yep. Okie dokie. All right, and that merged, so that's good. And then switch back to main. Let's see, is this don't attempt to retrieve user settings and not non-authenticated views? Are there any other pages that I need to add? I think not. Right now, there are some pages that I might add at some point that we'll also need to do this to, but for now, this is fine. Cool. Yeah, if I was starting this project from scratch now, I'm not sure if I would use Next.js, given I'm not sure we're going to get a lot of benefit from it in the long term with how we're approaching the building this. But you know, I have it. I'll just deal with it. It's not too troublesome. And I guess I can create the pull request from here, can't I? There we go. 170 into main. Yep, check. Auto merge, rebase and merge. Create. Also, the fact that that PR did auto merge suggests that there are no stories that give coverage for the the meal add food dialog, which is not great. That's Hey, Mononz. No Next.js outrageous. Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. Yeah, it's I guess somewhat popular with folks. Some people. The other project that I have going on right now that I haven't shown on stream is actually a thing that I use for the streams. You hear a lot of Next.js fanboys. Yeah, well, any technology, I think, has that, a little bit of that. What would I use instead? For this, I am not sure. I just don't know if I would use Next.js. Like it adds a lot of things that, like in past projects, I would have just had. Let's see. So most of what's going on in the app is the front end. So I would just have like React router, SPA style thing going on, and then I would have like Express serving the tRPC endpoints, and that'd be it, right? That would be a solution. It would be simpler, and I just, of the features that Next.js provides, a non-JS backend. Wow. Actually, I have. It's on a different desktop, but I have been looking at because I was really getting into like the whole tRPC thing. I found kind of a Rust equivalent of it, and that would be kind of neat to do. Like a Rust backend. The other project that I mentioned is one I've not shown any of the code on stream. We've not worked on it at all, but I have been showing it every single stream because the splash screens I have, like when I start the stream and ends and breaks and stuff, that's actually a little web app using thingy. Hold on, new window. Splashes. Vite. Yeah. Vite and not a lot else. Yeah, Rust is its own thing. It's React and Vite and TypeScript. But yeah, so anyway, I have some things I want to do in terms of making like not just like the splash screens for OBS to serve up, but also some like dashboardy things for streaming. So I might do that on stream at some point. Get really meta with it. I've not done a lot with Rust. Back, I guess it's been a couple of years now. I ported one of my old C++ libraries, one of my most popular repos, public repos on GitHub, is a implementation of the Monkrez linear assignment algorithm. I ported that to Rust back a couple years ago. But yeah, it's something that I've been trying to actually more recently. I was working on an embedded project. This was like last year at some point. I was going to work on a thing that would detect like me going up and down the stairs and control some LED strips under the stair treads. You don't do JS anymore, but it was fun. Yeah. There's so many fun things. So much. It's like there's just so much, and sometimes that can feel daunting. But hey, welcome to the stream. Hello, hello. Ran into too many JS undefined issues and just to shift for something strict instead. Yeah. Things being undefined that's got to be like the most common error you see. I don't feel like I see a lot of those these days. Doing mostly TypeScript. TypeScript is the language that I've been using like 90+% of the time for the last few years. That and a little bit of Python mixed in for some things, but for like systems programming. Like, it was interesting kind of trying to figure out how to do embedded development with Rust and getting that all set up. Might be something cool to show on stream at some point. But yeah, for like, I don't know. There's always trade-offs with those things, and so for a lot of the stuff that I do in kind of web dev backend space, Node.js is pretty good for that purpose, for like asynchronous IO things. But yeah. All right. The API I was using was just generally bad. Too much if property exists and is not null to things. Yeah, that sounds familiar. Yeah, it needs to update. Okay. So that stuff took less time than I thought it would. Figure out what to do next. It's gonna be not too exciting to add the to-dos as issues, but need to do that. And add story and interaction tests for connected diary component. Doing some storybook stuff would be a little bit different than a lot of the stuff we've been doing so far, but probably should happen. I think I don't know if I said or I was thinking about saying that one pull request we just did where we updated the meal add food. This merged cleanly, which meant that the storybook stuff was accepted, and that means we probably don't have coverage there. So I had to check every property rather than just me specifying in strict language that it's optional, right? Huh. Islamic code, but just using straight Java Kotlin. Sure. Yeah, there's definitely a lot of things that are nice in TypeScript where you can kind of devise interfaces that really specify, like, here's the kind of input that I want. I think I touched on that briefly, like when we were looking at the let me get back to main now. Meal add food? No. What's it? It was food slice? Food search slice? There it is. Where, like, this is not a great design for this interface, like for this state, because, or rather, when we were trying to add the count, right? Because we were always going to have a count if we had results, and then the opposite, if we didn't have results, we wouldn't have a count, so it would be null too. And so, yeah, if you switch to TypeScript, things would have been a lot better than just rewriting. And maybe. There are definitely a lot of good/bad escape hatches in TypeScript to be able to support interfacing, either interfacing with existing JavaScript code or for like typing, turning JavaScript incrementally into TypeScript, essentially, using things like any, which can become a foot gun. But I mean, this is the same thing where, like, if you don't do a good job, you're doing your specifying your types, then you're essentially telling the consuming code that it's allowed to do things, and then you have to add special case logic to check for it. See the ability TypeScript was all in on Kotlin. Then I've not used Kotlin. My go-to JVM language would probably still be Clojure. It's been quite a while since I've used it, but I actually have done a couple of small projects back. The last startup I worked at back in 2015, 2016, we were using a little bit of Clojure for some things, Clojure and ClojureScript. We'd also done a little bit of Scala stuff, but I was not uh, as much of a fan. Like the types were very interesting there, and doing some stuff with Spark, Apache Spark. Have either of us tried Elm? I've looked at Elm a couple of times, but there are. I don't think I had a really good reason not to use it. It just was not, when I was looking at it, I didn't have a project. And so nothing ever came of it. I think I've heard some things more recently, like on some discussion boards around some issues with the Elm project these days. Yeah, you like Kotlin because it can compile to JVM and native and JS if needed? Nice. I didn't know it can compile to like native binary. Yeah, with Clojure, because you have Clojure and ClojureScript that are not quite the same, but there's some like crossover where you can have reusable things that allows you to then either have things that will work on like Node.js or JVM. So almost all of that. These days, I think if I was doing, like, if I wanted to do something native, I would probably reach for, native for iOS practically, probably reach for Rust. For anything that would be like, in the past I might have reached for like native compilation, anything that's performance sensitive, that I might have reached for like C or C++ back in the day. Rust would be what I would try to use these days. Again, not that I'm like super experienced with it. I've done basically one and a half projects, but I would definitely be looking that way. So what do we have in the way of to-dos? Maybe there's some to-dos that we could actually just address while we're here. I'm trying to pick up a bit more web knowledge. Spent most of my time in native mobile dev and missed out a lot of the web. Yeah, it's in the like JavaScript ecosystem, there's definitely a lot of like definitely a sense of a lot of churn. You know, where like there's a new hot thing and oh no, this is now old. But I don't know. At the same time, it feels like some things have not changed all that much in the last several years. Just depends. Alright, so we said we wanted to add the dark theme colors to our theme story. I do that. I never wanted to be a web dev, but I need to maintain some web stuff and I'm very lacking. I see. To do use Redux store for user settings. Right, we should be able to do that, right? We should be able to get the user settings from, what are we using user settings here for? Consumption user settings data. Now that I take out Mondays, got the saving to show me the ways. Oh no. There are many ways. Many ways, and I sometimes hop between them. But yeah. I'll try my best. Where all your things look like they work every time. Well, some of that is being selective about what I'm doing. So some of this stuff I'm still thinking about how to like address, and so one of the benefits of working on a personal project is that I don't have anyone telling me like, oh, we need to do this. Like, this is what the priority is. So I can prioritize based on what I know how to solve now to some extent, or at least what I think that I'll be able to do. Like, it's not, I'm not going to take on something that is like, I'm going to sit here and read documentation for the next 3 hours. Probably that will be something, honestly, I just have to break down into smaller bits. But yeah, anyway. What are we doing here? Where we want user settings. Why do we want user settings? Because we want units information. Like, what kind of unit? Wait, unit type equals fluid. Okay, right. So we want, like, this current user's unit settings in this view, but we should be able to get this from Redux, right? So if we just like, this is a connected component, we should be able to just like const user settings equals, let's see, we need use selector. Do we have a, there's a settings slice, right? There it is. Like me, I stream most Mondays, where the remainder 6 days are breaking things, getting ready for the next one to look like I know what I'm doing. Yeah. No, I try not to. I actually, I don't even have to say I try not to. I don't have time to look at this outside of the stream. So this stream is basically the only time I'm looking at this code. Now, I spent some amount of time, I wasn't keeping track of working on this project before I started streaming it. But yeah, now that I've started streaming this over the last like 2 months, this is the only time. This is it. I'm doing it now, or it's not getting done. Is basically how things are. Maybe that will change at some point. I don't know, but for now, what you see is what you get. Except I might, in the hour before the stream, like start looking at things, but generally otherwise, no. All right, so we should have a selector to use. Select settings. That's probably fine. So if we do this, we need to have some imports. Ooh, that's cool. I tried to do that for me, but I realized I needed to learn a bunch of stuff on the side. Yeah, that's fair. It's especially trying to learn new things require a lot of research. Yeah. I guess with this project, I've effectively done a lot of that. Yeah, IO stuff. Yeah. Done a lot of that for this project, since I, all the like libraries and stuff, like the barcode scanner and using Next.js, which I'd never used on a project before. Like, I figured that stuff out before I even started streaming this. So now it's kind of just this incremental problem-solving kind of thing. Which I guess has put me into a position where I can just kind of like not have to go and do more extensive research on things, to be fair. Next project should be easier now that I have a reference. Yeah, it makes sense. So this is definitely not something that we want to look at. Status like this doesn't make sense. So we'll remove that. And remove that. And it should just be like that. Where's this user settings type coming from? Types user? It's probably right. You know, I guess this is another way of dealing with the to-dos. Instead of adding them to the project, I'll just implement it. Let's go check that really quick. So to get to there, I want to do a couple things. So I think I need to go here. And we'll search for ginger. Interesting. This sorting should probably be in the opposite direction, I feel like. How are we sorting right now? ID descending? Should probably be ascending. Like, I want the things... Nah, I don't know. We need to do something better here than sorting by ID, but this is fine for just this moment. Okay, so... So we have grams here. If I change this to ounces and refresh the page, since there's no way updating the settings in one tab is going to affect this tab. So that still says grams. But if I go into here, find that same item again so that we're... Okay, but this says ounces, 3.5 ounces. But this still says grams, which is not right. But I don't know that we're controlling that. Like, where do we use food settings? Target unit system. So that's for like container sizes. And for nutrient details. So if we just scroll down and hit details. Yeah, it's all in ounces. So that works still. But it seems like our macro, is that what the component is called? Macro stats? Yeah. Macro stats and yeah, this is just hard coded to grams right now. Percent of your daily goals. Daily goals progress. Okay, so new items to add to the backlog. Make and daily goals progress. Use user settings for units. Okay. But at least this seems to work, right? So the to-do was to make it so that this component, instead of fetching user settings again with tRPC. Wait, grams, where are you from? I thought US. I am in the US. Yes. But I'm designing this so that you can input either, you can basically, the user profile can either use kilograms or US pounds. And basically you can choose your units independently based on what you're trying to measure. Because while what I learned in school when I was much smaller was ounces and pounds and inches and miles, maybe I want to be able to use metric. You understand metric though, can't be from the US. We use metric too. Some places. So what's fun is that, you know, like downstairs in my workshop, I have tools, and I have a mixture of like imperial unit tools and metric tools, because you just gotta have both. And it's just a mixture, and it's the worst. It is the worst combination. Oh yeah. What are the ones that, I mean, there's all sorts of wacky units, right? But no, I don't have anything off the top of my head. But you know, just weird, like, you know, bushels of things and all that. So why can't it all just be powers of 10? Consumption components. Convert to issue 184. I just like that 10 centimeter cube of water equals 1 liter equals 1 kilogram. Distance to volume to weight. Well, I mean, that's yeah, fair. I mean, that's what you get when you design a unit system, right? You can design in things like that those measures all align for a reference thing. This is 184, right? Yeah. All right, and the other one merged. Good. All right, let's look at more to-dos. All right. Hey, look, extract a component and support choosing between kcals and megajoules. Do you think the US could ever convert? Would be too hard, right? I don't know. I think it is hard to say. It's not impossible. I think it would just require the willpower to do it over a long span of time. I think that EU could still use miles, though, right? For speed? I have no idea. What's going on in the EU? I mean, I've technically been to Europe. I've been to Germany and Ireland. But just the airport. Yep, just the airport. Yep, just flying through. To and from Kuwait. Back, jeez, a lot of years ago. Let's see. So we're extracting. Well, we did extract it to a component. We extracted the donut shard. I think, yeah, okay, so I mean, I guess it could be a specific thing, but honestly, it's everything if we were actually going to do this. This was something I thought would be kind of fun to do, is to support selecting either, Kuwait, yeah, it's a story, would be to support not just kcals, which in the U.S., I don't know elsewhere, but in the U.S., like nutrition labels just say calories, but they are kilocalories. So that's one thing that is like a weird thing that I'm doing here is saying kcals. But also I thought it'd be really cool to be able to support having an option to see everything in megajoules. Hard being so far down here in New Zealand AU forever to get anywhere. Well, that's fair. Outside of, you know, Oceania, yeah. One of the nice things being like so I'm on the west coast of the U.S. in the Pacific Northwest in Washington State, and that's is fun of a detail near Seattle, I'll say. One thing is nice. It's not too bad to be able to get to go to Hawaii, whereas I know folks that are east of me in the U.S. are like it becomes much more arduous for that kind of thing. But that's one of my favorite spots for doing vacation so far. Oh, and there's the item merged. All right, so I can remove. I go back to main. I'm just gonna start removing the to-dos. Actually, wait. I have an issue to remove the to-dos. So, well, it's a ticket. Convert to issue. There we go. You went to Hawaii once. Was great. Yeah. A particular island, or did island hopping, or? I've just been to Oahu myself. Probably next time we'll go somewhere else, maybe the Big Island, but didn't I check out main? Just the main, I think. Tipping is weird. Oh, you mean in the US? Yeah, glad it's not a thing there. Yeah, it's challenging because you can't not tip, even if you think it's overall not a good thing, because it's baked into, like, if you work at a restaurant as a waiter of some kind, you get paid less because the tip is part of your expected wage. So you just get paid less with the expectation of the tipping covering it. And so, yeah, it's not great. All right, the PR that changed this has not been merged yet. Okay. Okay, logged food actions. We said we want to grab loading status and error from Redux and showing component if the dialog is open. Why? Grab loading status and error from Redux and showing component if the dialog is open. I mean, I guess. Oh, do you have to tip everywhere? Like at Target buying a pillow? No. I don't know if there's a good way to explain what is the thing you would tip for versus not, and it's I don't know. It's gotten worse, I feel, in the last couple of years, with a lot of like the services that have come out for like small. As an example, it's been a couple of years since I've gone into the office to work, because I now, obviously, since recent events, groceries, no. But like, so I used to, when I went into the office in Seattle, I'd get lunch at one of the food trucks. And so all the food trucks have these little like credit card terminal things from, a Square or something. I don't know, whatever. But they all have baked in like automatic, recent events, right? Um, uh, Baked into it is like a tip option, right? But it's not something you would normally, if like there's no wait staff, if you go and you're buying food and it's just like you place the order, like you wouldn't tip at a McDonald's. That sort of thing. If you're not sitting down to eat, it would be odd for someone to like expect a tip. You wouldn't be expected to give a tip, but there are a lot of these like terminals that have a built-in like thing to give a tip, and so it feels like in that way, kind of the places that are now kind of suggesting that maybe you should give a tip has expanded, and I don't know. Yeah. The big thing now is like for food delivery is the more impactful thing now. So, I use various services that I'm not going to name because, it doesn't matter. But, and there's like tipping on there. So because it's someone going out and like picking up my grocery order and dropping it off at the house. And there's like a built-in tip thing there. So any kind of those, one person is bringing something to you, DoorDash, Uber Eats, Instacart, etc. Yes, all want tips. And then they want you to rate too. You work closely with DoorDash. It's fun. Well, interesting, but probably don't spill the beans here. I think I have just the generic thing in here to add loading skeletons, so I'm going to remove all the to-dos that are like, use the loading component. Let's see, list consumptions by meal. If we're looking at a quick add, serving size, to-do, this should be something or null. Not sure. What should it be? I think it's just a placeholder because it doesn't matter. Because we're entering in the value. Or alternatively, we should allow the user to enter in like a quantity amount. But now, for now, I mean, that's a feature, right? Being able to do that, so that's not a to-do. That's a thing we could do instead. Do I have something in the backlog about adding full text search? Text search. No. Okay. I think we're gonna do that as part of the V1 because we're probably gonna switch away from SQLite before we're ready to deploy this to the internet. So add full text search. Which Prisma provides like an API for doing that through the client, but it's only supported. It's not supported on SQLite. So that would allow us to like have fancier like it would like strip off suffixes and things off words to do the matching, you know, something something. However it does that thing. We require age verification for orders, and DoorDash needs to scan an ID. USA licenses have a barcode maybe, but they try to scan licenses here and it doesn't. And fails. DoorDash troubles. Yeah. I mean, the US doesn't have driver's licenses. The states inside of the US have driver's licenses. And so I have no idea if there would be something consistent like a barcode on every license in the US. Yeah. Real fun. Consider checking Zod validation on the result prior to upserting into the database. It might be good to do. I'm not sure. Maybe not. Like, the point is that we're going to take whatever we're getting from Open Food Facts and we're going to just save it. And we can go back. A thing we don't have right now is a way in the UI to, like, edit the loaded food items once they are loaded. And in fact, we don't even have there used to be a way, like the way this used to work is the front end would fetch the item from Open Food Facts, and then you would be able to review the item details and then save it, and that would save into the DB. Yeah, who knows? We have states here too. I think DD has all the US states sorted, but not the AU states. I see. So I think I'm just going to remove this to do. I don't think we need to do this. Instead, we'll just take whatever we get, and then we can have some way of updating them later. And I already said I was going to add a thing with the skeletons. So we're just going to delete those things. To do, handle this error somehow. Think about it. Okay. So we have 3 of these. These are essentially like, this shouldn't happen, but I guess could somehow. I don't know that there is a way to handle this better. Well, yeah. I suppose there is a way, which is to somehow communicate that to the user that something went wrong, and unwind the, change the state to reflect that. I mean, we're going back to loading idle. We could set the error. Okay, what I'm going to say though for this item in the backlog, whoops. I'm so in the habit of switching between desktops. But this is why when I get ready to stream, I don't leave tabs open with things on other desktops in case I accidentally switch to one. Okay, so, right. I think I will say this is like a V1, like a 1.0 item, which is address, improve error handling and diary slice, extra reducers to show the user to improve error handling somehow. Okay. I think I will leave these to-do markers here. So that when I look at that ticket, I'll have a hint as to what to do. And then that leaves this thing. Which, yeah, we could probably do. I don't know that I've spent any time looking at the dark theme, because I've not... I guess I've not made this to switch to a dark theme when the client is wanting a dark theme, although I probably could. But yeah, so we should just be able to like copy paste this down here, and then all of the rest of these should be dark theme. I wish there was a way to like... Can I do this and then click this? Yeah. All right, cool. That's something. I was going to say, I wish there was a way to like only replace from where the cursor was onwards, but being able to find within the selection is good. Replace all. And we'll just add that import. I did have a dark theme, right? F12. Themes? Or did I just not have a dark theme? Didn't I have a dark theme? What happened to it? Or am I thinking of a different app? Oh no. Huh. Okay. Are we exporting theme options? Let's do that. And then we can import theme options from the light theme. And then just palette mode light. Yep. Yep, or dark gaming. Theme options, actually. What's the problem? Uh-huh. Okay, if I just do this. Okay. Why? Okay, well, I'm not sure why it likes one and doesn't like the other. But if we now go to here to do a dark theme, so if I refresh, is it there? Nope. Oh, I haven't saved it. That'll be why. Okay. Background and text. That didn't seem to do anything. That's unfortunate. You gonna make me do work? I just remove that key? Nope, doesn't like that. Okay. Wait, text FFF. Text, okay. What if we did this? Sure. Could be good. Yeah, this is a dark mode, but not our dark mode. Is there a way to... Themes? If theme key changes, theme provider, theme, themes. Oh, that's why. All right, so then if we look at a component, all right. It's a little problematic. Our little icon for that. So our it needs some work. So I think a thing we can add to the backlog is I'm assuming, yeah, I don't have anything on there about it. Let's fix up remaining issues with dark theme. There we go. Cool. Yeah, if we switch back to light mode, then this looks a little bit more legible. Like you can't even see the text. Yeah, you can see the text, but it's just the icon. There are probably other details like that. So we'll leave that as that. And that's everything that is a to-do is now, there's now an issue for, which was the objective of this item. So what did we change here? We added dark theme there, added dark theme there. We removed the to-do because we added the issue for it. Same for this. We already had an issue about loading and skeletons and stuff, and then decided we weren't going to do anything about this. Added a issue about that, decided we were not going to do this. Added the dark theme, added it there, and then exported theme options so we could reuse it in the dark theme. Cool. Another thing done. All right, let's get this PR open. And I think it's about time for me to take a little break. My water glass is empty, and I need to get some blood going into my legs again, and all of that. So going to take a little break here for just a couple minutes, and we'll come back for more coding. All right. Back to it. All right, so PR merged. What's next? guess. Tests. Tests are a thing. Let's see, what else is in here? What can we do to avoid having to write tests? Loading skeletons, prevent layout changes, handle auth failures and API calls. Oh, right. So if we're on a page and we like our session expires, yeah. Add error boundaries. Show food search, add review dialogues as a second column instead of a dialogue when in desktop mode. Sounds tricky. Considering we're literally using the material UI, like I think it's called the dialogue, right? Consistent breakpoints and media queries. Add tests for components. Have daily goals progress. Show unknown and allow null values. That's interesting. What's this all about? Maybe we can look at this one. It sounds more interesting than... Although I think... We'll see. Maybe there'll be tests for that too. Let's look at Storybook. That might be useful for looking at this. Do we have a story for... There we go. Daily goals progress. So this is the UI. Although generally it's not stretched out this far. If we look at the docs view, that's a little bit... Yeah. The goal, right? Okay. So if wait, is that right? What is this issue about? Daily goals progress show unknown and allow null values. Like if we don't have a goal set. Like I think the amounts should always be present. They may be 0. Like if you've not entered anything into your diary for today. But maybe the goals could be blank. Like if you've just created your profile and you've not... Like this can be blank. And then if we look at Prisma, what does that do to our goals? So that's in our account. Nope. It can be null, but is it null right now? So we blanked it out, but that did not blank it out. It's not savable like this. That's odd. I mean, it makes sense, just in the same way as if we were just, yeah, except that's invalid, right? But it just says nothing if it's blank, making us think that it's, you know, cleared it out. If we put in 0, that should save. Don't these settings auto save? But not for 0. Okay, that's a behavior. How do I feel about that? Presumably empty string and 0 don't save because they're falsy. But if if we're going to keep that behavior, then the UI should tell us that. Now I need to remember where the code is that's responsible for that. You start with settings. It's probably... Okay, let's find height, weight, body comp, goals. Here we go. So the logic is probably embedded either inside of connect component or inside of united input. Let's look at what connect component does. Data is not equal to null. Use data subfield. Okay. This component that we're dealing with right here is an immediate component. As in, we don't require, there's not like a save button or anything. It just auto saves if there's a value. If new value. What if we said, if not error? Save it. Right, and then if we just wipe that out, let me refresh. Okay, so that doesn't, but if we put a 0 there, that does save it. But removing a value does not cause a save. Even though that should cause a change. Like from deleting out of there. Probably that is an issue with united input. We have on change here. Handle change. Right, so this only allows you to input a value if it's actually a number. If it isn't actually a number, onChange does not get called. Set raw value S. Oh, I see. So the issue with this is that if we have a falsy value and raw value, then it just defaults to parsing 0, and then that is valid again. So what happens if we remove this logic? Or do that, right? So then that would be, yeah, invalid. I think that's better. So you can put a 0 there and that works. Or we can put our original 148 back. I guess it's possible though. So the thing a thing that is on the backlog right now to do for 1.0 that I haven't done yet is having the ability to like sign up to create an account. And a question would be, are we going to require on account creation filling in all of these details? Because if not, these could still be null. And if they are null, then the UI should support that. even if, like, once you land on this, if you change it, you can't put it back to being null after the fact, which I think is not an unreasonable behavior. We're going to have some kind of, like, utility tool thing here to be able to, like, adjust these values without having to, like, enter in the numeric values like this, but this is how it works for now. One thing at a time. So I think it is reasonable that the goals could be potentially null. And then what do we do about that? Right? If the goal is null, then we can't show a percentage. We can show, like, the number, but we would probably want to show some kind of, like, we could do some kind of, like, striped progress bar thing, something to indicate that it's like there's no goal here. Maybe. So let's take a look at that. Also pull down the last commit that was merged. So if we look at daily goals progress, here's the component. It's a div in a paper. It's got total goal left chart in it, which I guess is the thing we'll actually be changing. And what is this? It is a div and some spans and CSS. Yeah? Yeah. But I think a thing we want to do is we want to say the goal could be null. And that's going to break some things, but that's fine. So the goal could be null is what we want to incorporate here for all the goals, all 4. And so that doesn't break anything because we already updated total goal, the chart component to accept that. I guess the question is, where are we using this? And does anything need to be updated here? Right, so here we have the goals. And this could be number or null already. So all we have to do to fix this is just remove the default. And for the rest of these, carbohydrates could be null or undefined or a number. That's probably, it's kind of odd. It's coming from update facts to match serving size. I see. Okay, I'm not gonna mess with that. Right, and that's the skeleton. Okay, so that's fine. And that just leaves updating this, right? So if goal is null, we're probably just gonna say the percentage is 100. And if goal is null here, we are probably, I don't know what we're gonna say. Right, so if this is null, infinity %, nice. Right, so this number on the right is the number of things left to reach the goal, or how much you're over, I suppose. If it, like, so for the protein goal, if our goal was 49, Wait, what? If our goal is 50. Oh, that's the goal amount. Okay. I thought that was the amount left, but I guess that's the goal amount. So we're just showing a 0 here if it's null. I guess instead of a percentage, we could just show the number. Right, percentage. Format so far, goal, left. Oh, here's percentage. CSS, color. Right. Or alternatively, like we could just return a completely different thing if goal is null. Like we can move this down here. I'm gonna say if goal is null, we'll do something else. And we'll just copy this. And maybe this will be like, once we get this looking the way we want, maybe we'll find that there's a good way to like merge that behavior back into this. So we'll see. So the first thing we can do is just get rid of goal and left, see what that looks like. And we are going to use this function. And put nothing there. And we'll use progress bar styles. Width 100%. So that's what that looks like. So for the goal, maybe we could just say no goal. Is that the right place? Goal minus so far. Are we just not showing this? Oh yeah. So we have it in there, we're just not showing it. At least in some views. Huh. What if we just removed these spans? What does that look like? Doesn't break anything. What is controlling whether or not the left? Okay, so if we're using inline styles, then so far and left are hidden. When do we use inline styles? Variant block. Okay. That's the default. Oh, but we don't provide. Right, in daily goals progress. We say variant inline. I see. So that doesn't show up. Where else do we use this component? Nowhere else. But we could. And if we did, there would be options. Okay. What is it called? Oh, there is a story for total goal left chart. It's right there. So we could look at that. Right, so this is kind of the expanded view, right? So if we were to, goal was actually null. So far, 500. What? Yep. Okay, I might want to keep some of this. What's that look like? 500, no goal. Okay, I can live with that. So this was show unknown and allow null values. I think that's what I was trying to go for. This was, I created this a while ago. This ticket, it's converted to an issue, and I'll just get a PR going. 188. How are we liking the music, by the way? I did switch. I had been using the streaming music app that Twitch provided, but they're taking it away, I think, like next month. So I switched to Pretzel Rocks. And I even gave them money so that we wouldn't be spammed with the chat messages every time the next track started. skeletons. Could work on that next. What am I doing here? I see. Yeah, so like right here, here's a place where we probably want to have a loading skeleton. For the consumption component, right? So we can yeah. Oh, I see. Right. So if this is a quick added food consumption, then we don't have we're not supporting being able to edit it from this page. That makes sense. Okay. But yeah, we could do switch back to main here. Let's start doing this. $190. So, how do we go about doing this? Probably the easiest, I think the way that's going to make the most sense is to provide the skeletonized version of this component from this file. Hey, look, we already did that. Are we using it here? Yeah, if we're passing in loading, then we'll just provide that. I see. But are we? Do we pass in props here? But if it's loading, we fail to use the loading. Oh no. That's kind of weird. Actually, yeah, this like if we're loading, instead of doing this here, this is probably gonna break some things, but I don't care. Like, this shouldn't be responsible for checking that, because then this type is just wrong, right? If we're loading, we're not gonna have food or a meal or settings, maybe. We don't know. So like it should be here that we are. Also, what's up with this box and all that, whatever. Anyway, like if we're loading, then return consumption loading. Oh, hey, unemployed dev, I can add that command. What kind of information would you like in that command? I'll put it on my list of commands to add. I did, since the last stream, I did add this. Bam. Which looks fun in the, oh yeah, it it encodes the less than and greater than signs in the chat, but in OBS, but what can you do? Add stat command to Streamlabs. Six days, 23 hours, and 51 minutes. So precise. I'm doing well. I'm enjoying my Sunday morning. Although I've went through my coffee already. Gonna have to sort out lunch here pretty soon. How are you doing? Good, good. Well, that's great to hear. All right, now did I break everything? How would we tell? Let's see, I suppose I should add something. Let me add some ginger cubes. I don't like the sorting of this. This puts the thing that I want to add at the bottom of the list. Okay, so add that. Done. Cool. That worked. Do I click it to edit it? Yes. All right, that works. Although I've lost my one serve. Oh, there it is. It's odd. But you can see there's the skeleton while it's loading. Pretty happy with that. I'm not happy with the fact that the one is not invisible initially. Let me add a thing about that. Serving number missing on initial load. Initial load of what? Edit consumption page. All right. Oh yeah, one UI test needs to be updated. Yeah, everything's invalid now. Yeah, should probably be able to enter zeros. That is probably something that we should allow. Right, so when we changed this, we essentially made it so that... Alright, we're not on that branch anymore. Right, so let's save this. This is not done in terms of addressing the issue because I think there are other views. All right. I'm so used to being able to use draft, but that is a feature I'm not paying for in this account. So, okay, back to this other issue. Yeah, that's great. Done. So the issue is that if we were to go to maybe quick add, I think that was what was surfacing the thing. If we go to quick add, yeah, it's all invalid. It's invalid because it's 0. Right, and that's because in united input, right, so this change from this to this made it so that the empty field is considered invalid. Now, why did we change that? We changed that because I wanted this to say invalid. Is that right? Wait, shouldn't... Why should 0 be invalid? Replace is in the end. Why is 0 being here invalid? That actually has nothing to do with... I mean... Oh, right. Because it's falsy. Will that... No. Okay. So if raw value is equal to null, handle change, set raw value, parse float, s replace, any commas with empty strings, parse that. If it's not a number, then unconvert unit type value, unit type target unit system value. Are these united inputs in quick add? Let's check an assumption that I'm making. yeah, united input, value kilocalories. And it says invalid because okay, why is raw value null? Oh. Let's unwind this a little bit. Okay. Nope. There we go. Okay. So we're inside of united input. We have value, which is null, initial value, which is undefined, or null, I see. Okay, so let me do this. Let me let's just use, let's do some debugging because I'm not quite sure what's going on here. So raw value is null, so then we try to parse that, and that will be not a number, so that'll be invalid. And that should happen several times as we go through the different fields. In fact, we can add a watch expression here. Okay, lots of nulls. At some point... Oh yeah. Okay. I think... So there's also value, and there's initial value. And I think it's the interaction between these things that's probably causing a problem. Null, null, and undefined. One of these should start being 0. Also, I love that we get a flash of an AN. Okay, so now we're loading stuff. At some point... Huh. What's going on with this component? If we go back to quick add. Value kilocalories. Oh, it starts as null. Why does it start as null? Is the intent that we can send a null? I guess it is. Like you could essentially just like leave them blank, but that's not what's happening anyway. Maybe we should just start with 0. That'll simplify things a little bit. Since unit input doesn't even let you supply, like clear out the field, it's kind of pointless to try to support that here. And then now value and raw value are reasonable looking values again, and that makes the error go away without changing any of the stuff over here. So that means if we go back to settings, it works the way we liked. That I liked, where it says, okay, that's invalid. But you can put a 0 there, and it saves. Cool. You can't add, because you have to at least have a calorie. And that still works. I'm not sure about the yellow for the button, but at least it matches with the color there. Okay. That should fix the issue with invalid fields on quick add. Well, Storybook caught a bug for us. All right, and this is broken. Type loading true is not assignable, yada, yada, yada. Okay, so if we go back to this issue, let's work on 2 pull requests at the same time. So consumption TSX was the file in question. Oh, right, we have an error right there. Hey, same error. Right, our story. Our story is different now, right? So consumption story, so we are consumption. Wait, which one are we talking about here? We're talking about the inner component, right? So, yeah, this is no longer a thing. What we would need is to make a separate story about the skeleton, the loading component, consumption loading. But yeah, that's not a thing that we have right now. We have to make a separate story file for that, and I'm not going to bother with that right now. So remove old loading prop story. the build proceed. And this one is building. All right. So I am going to have to go here pretty soon. Got to get something going with lunch. I think next time around, what are we going to be doing? Maybe diving into some of the Storybook stuff that I've been putting off. Attending to some of the missing stories and adding some interaction tests. Nope, there we go. Next track. And probably have to attend to some of our dependency updates again because, hey, look, there's a bunch more. That'll be next week. I will see if I can, between now and then, unemployed dev, add that stack command. I didn't get a response, by the way, of I'll figure out something, just kind of summarizing what we're doing here in terms of the stack. Between now and then, I've put it on my list. I actually have another GitHub project for that. Yeah, you're very welcome, Mono. I hope you've liked the music. It's in the same vein as the stuff I was using before, but slightly different. I guess we'll have to see. Oh, hey, look, there's one change that must be accepted. Let's see what the change is. That'll be probably the last thing we do today. If it's okay, yeah, that's fine. That's that same thing where the button is activated in one and not the other. So I'll accept it. And bam, auto merge. All right, so maybe I guess the other thing next time around, we can probably continue. I think there are some other places where we need to add like loading states. Oh, cool. All right, well, I'm gonna end this here. And we'll pick this up next Sunday. Thanks for hanging out, chatting, and watching, listening, all that. Take care. Have a good week.